Welcome to Healing the Spirit, a space where we awaken our creativity, deepen our connections, and remember who we are through the lens of astrology, archetypes, and art making. I'm your host, Jonathan Coe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing the Spirit, and welcome to this episode where we contemplate the astrology and the energy of February 2026. One way to understand the role and function of astrology for those of us who are walking the spiritual path is that astrology helps us contextualize the energetic content and textures of the times that we are currently living in. Those of us who choose on a soul level to be on Earth at this time can attest to how intense these times can be. My reminder for you at the start here is that you have the agency to choose. Everything I share here through the astrological contemplation lens is an offering. And astrology is really offering us a lens through which we can understand what is unfolding. And from that place of deeper, more discerning understanding, we can choose how it is that we would like to participate. Ultimately, astrology is a tool that helps us in the art of living. There's no one right formula with regards to how we should live. Rather, living is a series of choices that we get to make. And how we choose to be internally as well as externally creates a ripple effect into our collective reality. So, astrology is a tool to reclaim our inner sight. It helps us see more clearly beyond the human narratives. When we see more clearly, we can practice discernment, which ultimately leads to the cultivation of wisdom. The theme for February is how to let go of expired timelines. February marks the start of an important new chapter. On the last week of January, Neptune entered Aries after having spent the last 15 years in Pisces. And by the middle of February, Saturn will also enter Aries after having been in Pisces for the past 3 years. Aries is the sign that corresponds with the spring equinox. It represents new, fresh energies. And Aries is cardinal fire. It is the strike of the match. It is the spark that illuminates the dark void. February is like a door that's mostly shut, but peeking through the part that's still open is the sliver of warm red light. February invites us to tie our loose ends. And so let me ask you here at the beginning, what chapters are you finishing? Is there a contract in your life that you are ready to move on and move away from? Is there a relationship that you're ready to walk away from? Is there an identity that you're stepping out of? From my perspective, February does not offer a clean ending. This is not one of those endings where we get a lot of closure. This is not one of those pieces of music or one of those films that give us a satisfying ending. February will simply get cut off and then moves on to the next chapter. The ending is not wrapped with a bow. We do not get to say our goodbyes properly. Rather, February is like a train transfer. You hop off the train you've been on, you let that train go, you wait for the next train, and then when the next train comes, you hop on and you get to your destination. One thing to remember throughout February is that reality is a time delayed mirror. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that who you are today is one among many possible answers to the prayers of your past selves. If you like who you've become today, at the end of this chapter, I encourage you to celebrate it. Congratulations. Now you must get off this train. You must hop on into the next train. You must start your new chapter. If you don't like who you've become, remember that the story is not yet over. There is a new chapter coming. There is a new train coming. You need to remember to leave the old train and get on the new train. You must start your new chapter. So, regardless of whether you like this moment that you're in, as we are all getting off the old train, remember that there is a universal experience here. There's a universal experience of needing to leave one reality and getting on to another one. Time waits for no one. And from this perspective, the answer to the question of how do I let go of expired timelines become really simple. The answer is you simply let it go. You unclench your fist and you drop it. You move on. Now, some of us are prone to overthinking. Maybe we worry. What if I get on the new train and I don't like it? For some of us, we are full of regrets. We can't help but wonder, what if I made different choices during the last chapter? Perhaps I would be further along. Perhaps I would be happier, more successful, more prosperous. When these regrets come up, I invite you to contemplate a different set of questions altogether. And those questions would be, what did I learn from my mistakes? How can I honor the sacred process of learning? How have the choices I made shaped me as a person? The call and the invitation for February is to courageously move forward. Some of us received a clear vision in late December, early January, and the vision is giving us a clear picture of where we need to steer the boats of our lives. We may not see the entire timeline, but we do have a sense. We do have a sense of which direction we're meant to move towards. Right now is not the time to back down. This is the time to keep going. And my encouragement is for you to use your tools in order to resource yourself when the going gets difficult. We start the month with a full moon in Leo on February 1st. During this full moon, the moon is ruled by the sun in Aquarius, which is in detriment, and we have four personal planets in Aquarius, in addition to Pluto. So revolution is in the air. Change is in the air. From the perspective of the planets, revolutions are neutral. Changes are facts of life. For these celestial beings, these planetary ancestors, they have been witnessing different empires crumbling, different leaders being rotated like musical chair, groups of people changing their values and primary alliances, and this has been going on since time immemorial. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't be significant for those of us who have only been here for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, 70 years, maybe for some of you, if you are lucky to get to that point. This will still be significant for us because we are moving through a period of great change. But remember that this is not the first time in human history that we experience great changes. Many of our ancestors have experienced this before. And so, in times of great changes, be discerning, hold on to your own values, open your eyes to the reality that's unfolding in front of you. Beware of your own biases. We are still ending the snake year at the start of February. So continue to practice filtering your actions through the lens of your dream world. What dream realities are you here to build? What values are you here to embody? And what is your personal motivation for building something new? The work is to practice both in February and beyond what it looks like to not lose sight of this while you begin to take actions. During the second half of February, we will enter eclipse season. The eclipse portal can be really intense. It can bring physical exhaustion. This is a time that brings a lot of anxiety for many of our ancestors. During the eclipse, either the sun or the moon, the celestial objects we call the luminaries, or sometimes both, are obstructed. Symbolically, the eclipse represents a time when things get obscured, where death and collapse will accelerate. What is meant to die in our lives will be taken away swiftly, perhaps even without any warning. A few days after the eclipse, we have the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. This is one of the big astrological events in the year. And then in the last week of the month, Mercury will go retrograde in Pisces, where Mercury is in its fall and detriment. So, put simply, the second half of the month brings heavy, challenging energetics. Your role as a mystic, as a spiritual practitioner, as a conscious and committed seeker, as a creative soul, is to take care of yourself. When you are a visionary, you can have a lot of heightened sensitivity, especially during times where the planetary movements are filled with a lot of intense experiences and transits. This is a great time to really lean upon your spiritual practices. This is a time to really protect your energy. This is a time to keep your inner eye wide open without falling into paranoia. This is a time to be very careful with the energy that you invite in to your space. As the old saying goes, the best defense, of course, is a good offense. So practice being generous in spirit with other people, especially when you can perceive that they are struggling. Practice being really kind to yourself so that When others say or do the wrong thing, you can come back to your center quickly and easily. Practice your boundaries first and foremost with yourself. Try not to exhaust yourself. Protect your time and your own energy. Stop working when you said you were going to. Schedule a day off when you've had a few days consecutively of working pretty hard. If you are a healer or someone who holds space for other people, end your sessions on time. The tendency with this energy will be to overwork yourself and to over explain yourself in relationships. The invitation will be to refrain from either of those. Instead, you may want to opt for a walk in nature, for a relaxing time in the bathtub, for meditating, for solitude. You may even want to practice closing your eyes, turning off all the lights, and lying on the floor. Don't be shy with closing the door behind you during the second half of the month. Everyone will benefit from replenishing themselves through rest, through silence, and solitude. There will be a time where we can enjoy being social, where we can enjoy coming out of our caves, going into parties, and that time is not now. For now, the best use of your energy is to rest. When you rest, you are helping your physical body adjust to this new altitude. Saturn and Neptune in Aries is very outward. It's very extroverted energy. And we will have this transit for the next few years. So at the start here, pace yourself. In addition, in Chinese astrology, the solar eclipse on February 17th in Aquarius marks the start of the year of young fire horse. This energy is volatile, this energy is quick, and this energy is combustible. Your job is not to add gasoline to the fire. Your job is to protect your own inner fire so that you can light it up when the right opportunity comes knocking on your door. Fire brings inspiration. Fire brings divine invigoration. So sooner or later, you will receive some fantastic ideas to work with. Your job at this moment is to prime your body, to prime your mind, to prime your spirit so that you have the stamina that is required to turn those ideas into reality to the best of your ability. Your job for now is to protect these ideas from internal critic, from your own internal sense of wanting to knock this idea down, as well as from external critic, from other people who may be doubting you, maybe because they don't fully understand or because they are jealous or they have their own experience. The point here is to make sure that you don't burn out. Even the best, most useful ideas will begin to stale if you keep dousing it with self doubt and with uncertainty. Remember that fire is not meant to burn for a long time. Things will manifest rapidly. Once all of the ingredients are ready, once divine will and personal will align, fire can move things into completion very quickly. Our role is to prepare for the appropriate runway so that fire can come in and do its job cleanly. Don't say yes too quickly. Listen to your heart, listen to your gut, listen to your spirit, and if you have an ancestral practice, ask your ancestors, your well ancestors, the ones who are ready to support you, for additional guidance. Trust the process of life. If there's no clear yes, that means that things are still aligning. Give it time, give it space, and see where it goes. Throughout the month, we will be experiencing some squares to Uranus, which is still in Taurus, and these squares are all coming from Aquarius planets. So first we have Mercury on the 5th, and then we have Venus on the 8th, then we have the Sun on the 16th, and finally we have Mars on the 27th squaring Uranus. Throughout February, the mind and the body are in a tense disagreement with one another. The mind holds on to beliefs, meanwhile, the body has needs for us to address. This tense disagreement escalates throughout the month. The squares begins with Mercury, which almost feels mild and playful, and then it is followed by Venus, who is a benefic, so the disagreement might increase in volume, but it will all still be in good spirit. By mid February, on the 16th, which is one day before the eclipse, the Sun is the one squaring Uranus. The Sun is a luminary, so the Sun is a very visible object in the skies, and the square illuminates an underlying power struggle that we can no longer deny. By the end of the month, it is Mars that's squaring Uranus. Mars is a malefic, and at this point, there is no question anymore. We are certainly in the midst of a conflict. So, what can we expect? On a personal level, we are asked to face the limitations of our ideals. In the Aquarius area of your life, you have lofty standards and big visions. In the Uranus area, you are limited by resources, by infrastructure, and by the support that you can actually afford financially or energetically. Similarly, on a collective level, the kind of sweeping idealistic changes that we want to see may be confronted with limitations in our ability to turn that into reality. With Uranus and Taurus, we can expect a shock, a surprise, an unexpected shift in terms of our physical infrastructure. And while theoretically that shift can usher new and positive changes, if not now, then eventually, we may find that on the other side of that, we are the very reason why the changes don't happen as quickly as we would like it to. Remember that change is actually simple. Change is a natural part of this universe. Everything is changing all the time in the world of phenomena. When the time is right and the conditions are supportive, changes can happen within an instant. However, humans are complex. We are prone to thinking very hard, which slows down the rate of change. We humans are, in fact, very often the element that gets in the way of change happening on its own. So, what do we do? The first thing is to remember that progress happens in waves. Reality moves in ways that are non-linear. The universe works in cycles. So it's often better to make one step forward, even if it's towards the wrong direction, because ultimately that movement will lead us to learn something. Aquarius can be obsessed with having the correct mental framework, with having strong logical reasons to justify certain actions. Aquarius can be obsessed with having a cohesive philosophy before going into action. And meanwhile, Taurus can be obsessed with maintaining the status quo, with stability, with experiencing ease and effortless abundance with as little effort as possible. Both approach can hinder progress. And so this month, the invitation is to take a conscious step back. When change comes into your lap, let it happen. Stop noodling with it. That's your mind, that's your ego trying to gain back control. And if there's no change at all, know that change is actually happening. It's just not happening on the surface, it's not happening on the level of our conscious mind. If you find yourself in one of these situations where you are hoping for change, but you are not seeing the change that you want, the recommendation I have for you is to simply enjoy the moment. Trust that your visions, that your dream reality, that your ideals are possible to achieve and that they're on their way. Trust that the journey will transform you. All you can really do is your best, nothing more, nothing less. There is this saying that you can have fast, good, or cheap, but you can only choose two out of three. In other words, you can have fast and good, but it will be expensive. You can have good and cheap, but it will take time. Or you can have fast and cheap, but you will be sacrificing the quality. The energy for February is similar. We can't get things delivered to us fast, good, and cheap. If we are lucky, we will get two out of three. So do the best you can with the time you have. And when the time is up, trust that you've done all that you can. And time will simply move you along into the direction that's next for you. All right, that is all I have for you for February. I hope that this contemplation is nourishing and helpful as you move through February, it feels like a major month to me. If you would like to support the podcast and this YouTube channel, please consider becoming a paying member of our new Substack. Each month, all paying members will receive 1 to 2 extra podcast episodes in addition to subscriber only essays and study notes starting the month of February. And you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month. Finally, I would like to also announce that starting March, I will run a live container. This will be a 3-month immersion, and we will focus on Venus and Mars. We'll study the archetypes of Venus and Mars from the perspective of their mythologies throughout the ages and across different cultures. We will study some astrological texts and what they have to say about these two archetypes. And we will also practice working with the frequency of Venus and Mars from the perspective of energy medicine, as well as having a contemplative practice. This is a comprehensive deep dive into these energies that I believe will be really impactful if you would like to live in a way that is in alignment and in accordance to your own design, to your own soul imprint. And if you are interested, I recommend that you sign up for the waitlist. The link will be in the show notes, or you can go to my website, www.jonathanco.com/Venus Mars waitlist, no space. All right, that is it from me. I hope you have a beautiful month, and I look forward to gathering again sometime soon. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope you take care of yourself.